The very first mistake Evelyn made was thinking that because Uzo had soil and potopoto on his shoes, his future was also dirty. Uzo was her boyfriend, but she treated him like a village punishment that followed her home. This man was not lazy. He owned farmland, supplied vegetables to market women, sold rice and yam during festive periods, and he had big plans to turn cassava, tomatoes, and ugu into proper food processing business. But because he did not drive tinted glass or wear dark shades inside darkness, Evelyn saw him as suffering with a phone number. Anytime Uzo talked about cold rooms, packaging, machines, and supply contracts, her face would squeeze as if someone opened a spoiled goat meat beside her. One Saturday afternoon, Uzo came to her compound with fresh ugu, tomatoes, pepper, and two tubers of yam for her mother. He wore a clean cream shirt and dark trousers, but Evelyn still looked at him like he had carried the whole farm on his head. Uzo, why are you bringing vegetables as if you are doing adverts for goat's food? She asked. Uzo smiled calmly and said, your mother said Ogo is expensive, so I brought some from the farm for her. Evelyn hissed. My mother asked for Ogo, not evidence that I am dating the chairman of Vegetable Forest Sellers Association. Auntie Maggie, who was rinsing plates near the tap, nearly laughed into her bucket. Evelyn, your mouth no get fear at all. Oh. Evelyn adjusted her wig because small audience always made her foolishness wear high heels. Every time this man comes here, he is either smelling of the sun or the soil or talking about cassava as if cassava gave birth to him. Kilo day. Uzo's smile reduced at this point, but he still didn't shout. Evelyn, farming is business. Food is serious money. Once I get my processing machine and cold room, I can supply beyond the state. Evelyn laughed so loudly that even the landlord's chicken paused near the gutter. Oh, please, please, please. Processing machine, cold room. Also, I beg. No come put English on top of suffering. At the end of the day, is it still no yam and cassava? Mama Chichi pushed her curtains aside. Evelyn, the boy has a plan now. That is what matters. Evelyn turned to her. Mama Chichi, plan without car key is just a motivational speech. How can my mates be entering tinted glass cars and I'll be entering farm road? Eh? Do I look like somebody that should be praying for rain because of relationship? Abeg o. The compound laughed, but Ozo only looked at her. The insult touched him, but he swallowed it like a man. Okay, look, I may not have everything now, but I know where I'm going, he said. Evelyn clapped for him. My friend, go and sit down. Every poor man says that. Since last year, you have been going and going and going. Your leg no dey pain you. Auntie Maggie shouted. Evelyn! But Evelyn had already entered full performance mode. Let me talk. Let me talk. If I wanted to marry a farmer, I would have stayed in the village and followed the palm wine seller near my uncle's house. And at least that one comes with free gossip and free shayo, Abby. Everyone kept quiet at this point because even people who liked drama knew that she was going too far at this point. Evelyn shrugged. Look, you are a good person, okay? But goodness does not pay for Bone Street. Simple. Think about it now. Am I supposed to chew your future plans when I'm hungry? No. A girl has to be maintained, and maintenance costs money. Ijikwa ego. Uzo looked at her and said, well, no, you're not supposed to eat my future. But then you have eaten from that same farm so many times. That one landed oh, but Evelyn's pride dodged it. Now lie. We know they count vegetables for here. You dey hear me? If I wanted a man who brings foodstuffs, I would date a supermarket sales boy. I beg. Mama Chichi shook her head and said, Chai, this girl is using mouth to sweep away her blessings. Auntie Maggie added, my daughter, not every man with dust on his leg is poor. Some dust is from hard work. Some shine is from borrowed cream. Open your eyes, oh. Evelyn hissed, I beg, you people like advising women to suffer. Me, I did not come to this life to be clapping for fufu to grow. Shey una dey hear me? Uzo placed the basket by the door. I brought this for your mother. Tell her I greeted her. Evelyn smirked, always acting humble. Uzo, humility without money is just decoration. Uzo smiled and said, well, and pride without sense is an even bigger decoration. Auntie Maggie slapped her wet hand on her thighs and said, Bam! Farmer has harvested one insult. Evelyn blinked because she was not used to Uzo replying. She wanted him to beg. She wanted him to look small. Instead, he walked away with his head held high, like a man who had planted enough and was no longer afraid of dry season. That same evening, Evelyn told her friends that she was tired of dating a man who smelled like fufu and ambition combined together. Her friends laughed and told her that she should make her decision and move on. Then, one hot afternoon, after she returned from the salon with Sandra, her closest gist partner and professional bad advice supplier, Sandra was the kind of friend who would clap for nonsense first and shout God forbid when the nonsense finally caught fire. Evelyn's fresh fake bone street was bouncing more than her bank account when three black SUVs entered the street, blowing horn as if traffic had insulted their ancestors. The first car carried two bodyguards in black clothes under hot sun, sweating like roasted plantain, but still forming danger. The last car stopped and Chief Ibu stepped out with his stomach leading him like advance convoy. The man wore white senator, red cap, dark glasses, gold chain, and perfume that was fighting the whole street for attention. One boy rushed to open his door and shouted, Honorable, sir! Chief Ibu raised one hand slowly and said, my people, no shaking. Yes, we full grand, we full grand. Sandra whispered, Babe, see money. Evelyn replied, Money is not seen, money is felt, and I am already feeling it. Chief Ibu saw Evelyn and smiled like a man who had forgotten his manifesto and his wife at the same time. He walked towards her with his bodyguards behind him, looking serious and hungry. Young lady, what is your name? He asked with a heavy Igbo accent. Evelyn brought out the soft voice she never ever used for Uzo. My name is Evelyn. Chai! Mwah. Chief Ibu smiled wider. Evelyn, beautiful name for a beautiful woman like you. You look like first lady material. Sandra nearly swallowed her laugh. Honorable, did you just say first lady? Chief Ibu tapped his chest. Yes, now. You don't know that I am contesting. When I enter office, everything go change. Road go change. Light go change. Even the sun go dey respect itself. Evelyn laughed as if the man had poured wisdom straight from heaven. Honorable, you're so funny. Chief Ibu leaned closer. I am not only funny, I am connected. That word alone entered Evelyn's ear and sat down with rapper. Connected. That was the language she understood. Not cold room or cassava processing. Abeg, connection, convoy, champagne, and a man whose stomach looked like he had its own polling unit. That evening, Chief Ibu took Sandra and Evelyn to a lounge. Champagne was there, grilled barbecue fish, pepper soup. Men were calling him incoming, and women were laughing at his dry jokes as if their rent depended on it. Chief Ibu sprayed money on one musician until the man started singing his full name with emergency passion. Evelyn sat beside him, glowing like a rechargeable lantern that had finally seen sockets to charge. Chief Ibu leaned close and said, Evelyn, you are too beautiful to be suffering with small, small boys. A queen must sit near power now. Iwatago. That was all Evelyn needed to hear. Her head swelled. If pride had weight, her neck would have broken that night. By the next morning, everybody already knew because in that kind of compound, gossip no dey work oh, e dey fly. Auntie Maggie saw Evelyn entering with dark glasses and a new handbag. Evelyn, what is happening? You are now walking like somebody that swallowed government appointments. Evelyn smiled. Auntie Maggie, when level changes, walking step must also change. Hey! Sandra quickly added, our Evelyn is now moving with Honorable Chief. Levels don't truly change. Mama Chichi came out sharp sharp. Eh? Chief, Chief Ibu. That man whose stomach enters a meeting before him. Auntie Maggie clapped and said, that man will get one pack. Evelyn frowned. Please, please, respect him. Eh? That stomach is evidence of enjoyment. Money yakata. Auntie Maggie shook her head and said, my dear, not every big stomach is enjoyment though. Just be careful, Sha. Evelyn hissed. At least he has convoy, bodyguards, and premium connection. He's not bringing Ogo like village apology. That insult was for Uzo, and everybody knew it. Well, that evening, he came to see her again because she had ignored his calls all day long. He wore a clean blue shirt and carried a small notebook with some figures for his farm expansion. The man still believed they could talk like two adults, but Evelyn had already packed all her remaining senses inside Chief Ibu's convoy. She saw him and sighed as if poverty had entered her house without even knocking. Ozo, what exactly are you doing here? I came to see you now. You have not been picking my calls because I am very busy with my life. Eh? And please, before you start talking about cassava and ogo, I am tired. Ozo looked at her carefully and asked, Evelyn, what is going on? Ha. Evelyn folded her arms and said, see, I have realized that I deserve better. Oh, is that right? Better than what? Better than farm road, vegetable basket, and cold room talk every blessed day. I need a man with vision that I can see, not vision that is hidden under the mud. Auntie Maggie, who was pretending to spread clothes, whispered loudly, these two will not kill me with their drama. Ozo looked at Evelyn. So, because you entered Chief Ibu's car yesterday, you think he has a vision? Evelyn laughed and said, well, you heard. Okay, at least his own vision has convoy now. Eh? And it has manifested. It is not in the future. Okay? Uzo swallowed his pain. Evelyn, is this what you really want? Yes, she said without even thinking. I cannot marry a man that smells like fufu and high hopes. You're good, okay? But good is not enough. I want soft life. I no come this life come suffer, come count bridge. Uzo nodded slowly and said, well, okay, then go where your soft life is. Evelyn smiled, thinking she had won. Thank you for finally understanding. Uzo looked at her for one last time. Oh, my dear, I perfectly understand more than you think. He turned and walked away without begging. And that one annoyed her because proud people like breaking people, not watching them live with dignity. Mama Chichi held her chest and said, Evelyn, you left a farmer with land for politician with mouths. Oh, I thought you were wiser than this. Evelyn lifted her chin and said, Mama Chichi, land is not money. Okay? So don't advise me with poverty mentality. Then she turned and walked into her room. After Evelyn dumped Uzo, the tenants carried her matter like hot jollof rice. By morning, everybody had their own version of the story. Auntie Maggie said Evelyn had left farm to table relationship and entered campaign to pocket ministry. Mama Chichi said Uzo should go and marry Yam because Yam had more loyalty. Even the gate man, who had not been paid for 3 months but still had energy for nonsense gossip, started calling Uzo Honorable Minister of Cassava Affairs. Evelyn enjoyed the gist too much. She started walking around with dark glasses even in the evening, as if moonlight was disturbing her levels. When her phone rang, she would raise her voice and say, Chief, Chief, my honorable. One evening, Chief Ibu visited again with convoy. The cars entered the streets with horn, dust, and empty confidence. Tenants rushed out as if rice was being shared. One woman came out with wrapper tied anyhow, and one man ran out with soap on his face because he thought government had finally remembered their compound. Chief Ibu stepped down in white senator, red cap, dark glasses, and fake gold chain, with his stomach leading the campaign. His bodyguards stood behind him, looking serious and hungry again. My beautiful people, we are moving to the next level, Chief Ibu shouted. Auntie Maggie whispered, which level, Biko? When your stomach has already reached the final level. Evelyn came out smiling like her name had entered national budget, and Chief Ibu opened his arms. My incoming first lady. Evelyn blushed like boiled tomatoes. Honorable, please, people are watching. Chief Ibu laughed. Let them watch greatness. Nne. Auntie Maggie whispered, now so, greatness they wear fake gold chain. Evelyn turned sharply. Auntie Maggie, jealousy does not fit your age. Respect your old age. Auntie Maggie smiled and said, Nem, I am not jealous, oh. I only know the difference between noise and money. Sandra quickly jumped in because her work was to hype disaster. Auntie Maggie, please allow people to enjoy their blessing, okay? Mama Chichi looked at her from head to toe. Sandra, your own work in this life is to clap for nonsense until it becomes obituary announcement, Abby. Everybody laughed. But Evelyn hissed and held Chief Ibu's arm tighter. From that day, she started behaving as if the compound was beneath her. She stopped greeting people well and started calling the shared tap that village water point. One afternoon, she told Mama Chichi, very soon, I will move into a duplex where nobody will be spreading pants beside my window. Mama Chichi answered, my dear, even duplex has toilets, so don't behave as if your future bathroom will flush itself. You go still shit and you go still use your hand flush am. Whenever Uzo passed through the street to deliver produce, Evelyn made sure she laughed loudly. If he was carrying tomato, she would say, some people are still romancing vegetables, so if he drove his small farm pickup, she would say, hey, well, at least he moves, even if it sounds like an old cough. Uzo heard everything, but did he answer? No. He had stopped explaining his vision to people without sense. He instead rechanneled his energy to his farm, hired more workers, rented storage space, and started supplying to restaurants, shops, and two school kitchens, while Evelyn was practicing First Lady Wave in the mirror. I mean, Chief was buying her perfumes, taking her to lounges, and giving her small bundle of cash that made her feel like she had arrived. One evening, she told Sandra, Ozo was a lesson. Chief is my reward. Sandra clapped and hyped her. Yes, so, babe, you have escaped mud. They laughed and made fun of Ozo. Meanwhile, Ozo kept building and growing. Before we knew what was happening, election season ended. And let me tell you, my paddies, Chief Ibu lost so badly that even his village people denied him with confidence. The result was not close at all. It was the kind of defeat that made people say, well, thanks for coming, because pity was the only thing left to contribute. By the next week, the convoy had disappeared. The bodyguards had vanished, and the same boys who used to shout, Chief, Chief, Honorable, started greeting him like expired recharge card. Evelyn noticed it first when Chief Ibu came to see her without siren. No convoy, no drama, just him and his big stomach. Ah, Honorable, where are the boys? Evelyn asked. Chief Ibu cleared his throat. My dear, we are just restructuring. Don't worry. Auntie Maggie, who was cutting onions nearby, muttered. Ne, restructuring means poverty has entered through the back door. Evelyn frowned, but she kept quiet until she asked for her money, and Chief Ibu sighed so deeply. like a man that was carrying the entire village problem on his head. He said, "My first lady, manage your natural beauty for now. I like you like this." "Natural beauty," Evelyn shouted. "Chief, you know I'm a high maintenance babe now. Which one is natural beauty again, Chief? That's not me." Before she could finish crying over Bond Street, EFCC started asking questions about campaign money. Suddenly, the same man who used to shout, "Do you know who I am?" started to whisper, "Please tell them that I traveled." The lounge stopped seeing him. The musician stopped singing his name. Even Sandra reduced her hyping because hunger can humble backup singers as well. Rent became a prayer point. Hair money became testimony material. Chief Ibo still had his one pack, but the money feeding it had traveled. Evelyn waited for soft life, but soft life blocked her number and changed address. Meanwhile, food prices started climbing in the country as if they were looking up to heaven. Rice became too proud. Tomatoes became gold. Even ordinary Gary stopped being a poor man food and started forming imported biscuits. That was when Ozo's business exploded. The same cassava wey Evelyn dey mock entered supermarkets in clean packaging. His tomatoes supplied hotels. His rice bags carried his company name boldly. People who once laughed at him started calling him sir with respect and small small fear. Aunty Maggie saw one of Ozo's branded Gary packs in a shop and said, "Chai, the fufu smell has finally entered air-conditioned shelf." Ew, what a world. Mama Chichi answered, "And some people's champagne has turned to sachet water." Evelyn heard the gist, but this time her mouth had no insult to give because life had collected its microphone. Years later, Evelyn attended a big business conference with borrowed confidence and one folder full of sponsorship proposals. By then, Chief Ibo's soft life had expired like old spoilt yogurt. The convoy vanished, champagne dried up, and the same man who called her my future first lady was now dodging her calls. Kai, life humbled Evelyn. Because the girl that even insulted cassava with her food chest was now trying to start a small food distribution business. See, life can be very petty when it comes to teaching some people manners. She entered the hall looking polished, but inside her heart, she was panicking. The room was full of CEOs, investors, supermarket owners, and people who looked like they did not price tomatoes in the market. She went up to the front and sat near the front row, opened her folder, and whispered, "Today must work. Amen." Then the MC climbed the stage. "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our keynote speaker, the founder of Ozo Foods and one of the biggest regional suppliers in the country, Mr. Ozo Okafor." Evelyn froze. Her spirit left her body, checked the banner, saw Ozo's pictures, and returned with premium bad news. Ozo walked in, wearing a clean navy blue suit, polished shoes. Omo, he looked like power itself. This one no be fake convoy power, real power. Everybody stood up and clapped like church was welcoming a bishop. Evelyn sank into her seat. This was the same man she called Fufu Ambassador. Now, his company logo was shining behind him, while rich people opened notebooks to learn from him. He started to speak about food security, storage, processing, and how farming was not poverty, but strategy. He was calm, but every sentence wore expensive shoes. Then his eyes moved across the hall, and he saw Evelyn. He paused. Evelyn quickly looked down because shame tied her gele. Uzo smiled and started a story. Many years ago, somebody told me farming was suffering with sunlight. She said cassava was no vision, and that a man who brought vegetables and cassava had no future. Everybody laughed. Evelyn gripped her folder in shame. She even said she couldn't marry a man who smelled like fufu and hope. The laughter from the crowd became louder. One man at the back said, that insult is wicked though. Uzo looked straight at her and now said, but today, that same fufu smell had entered supermarkets, hotels, restaurants, boardrooms. That same hope has built warehouses, paid salaries, bought machines, and fed thousands of families. Everybody was clapping hard at this point. Even a woman that was sitting close to Evelyn whispered, whoever said that thing should be under their chair by now. Another person said, under that chair is even too small. She should dig a tunnel and enter inside there. Evelyn adjusted her wig, but her wig could not save her today. After the speech, people surrounded Ozo with business cards and partnership offers. Evelyn waited until the crowd reduced. Then she walked up with a soft smile, looking like a small witch in high heels. Ah, Uzo, long time oh. Uzo looked at her from head to toe, the same way she used to look at him when he brought Ogo. Yes, very long time, he said with a mean face. Ah, you have done so well for yourself. I always knew you had potential. I'm proud of you. Uzo laughed. Evelyn, please, let's not do that. Don't repackage your insult as prophecy. A few people nearby turned. Her smile cracked and she said, no, I didn't mean it that way. I'm proud of you. Ozo nodded. Well, thank you. I am proud of myself too. When you were laughing at Farm Road, I was building supply routes. When you were chasing convoy, I was chasing contracts. And when you called me Fufu Ambassador, I was learning how to feed a nation. Somebody behind him murmured, correct. Evelyn swallowed, opened her folder and asked, actually, Uzo, I have a food distribution idea and I was hoping you would consider sponsoring me or even partnering with me. My idea is very good. Uzo collected the folder, opened it and saw Gary, rice and tomatoes boldly written inside the proposal. That made him smile. Interesting. So now cassava has vision, eh? Evelyn's face became hot. Uzo closed the folder and handed it back to her. I cannot invest in this. Hey, Uzo, why now? Because you do not respect the work. You're only after the money. So, next time you smell fufu, stand very well. Because it might be what will pay for your food tomorrow. Chai, the shame was premium. The people around clapped and laughed. One man near the refreshment table shook his head and said, Ewo, she collected exactly what she ordered. Evelyn walked out slowly, holding her folder like evidence of disgrace. She came to the conference looking for sponsors, but she left with shame, pepper, and a lesson that wore boots. The farmer she rejected did not just grow crops, he grew power, respect, and perfect reply for the day pride came to beg. The end. And so, my paddies, we've come to the end of today's story. And all I have to say is, not all that glitters is gold. Ask God for the spirit of discernment to be able to discern fake gold chain from fufu. I'm sorry, but you get what I mean. Please drop your comments in the comment section below. What are the moral lessons you derived from this story? Also, I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel, so in any way you can support me by liking, subscribing, sharing, I'll be truly grateful. Thank you so much for always supporting your girl. I love you all, and I'll see you in my next video. Ngwano, bye!